Welcome back to our coverage of the 55th conference of the ANC. And President Cyril Ramaphosa is trapped between a rock and a hard place. Aside from his daily battle to curb SA's unemployment crisis, dismal service delivery and electricity crisis, the Phala Phala matter adds to the pressure he must shoulder. Now, last week's parliamentary debate on the issue exposed deepening divisions within the ANC. Now, leadership expert Professor Mazwe Majola says that the elective conference is a defining moment for the ruling party, and he joins us now in studio to discuss this further. Indeed it is, and thank you for joining us. A huge watershed moment for the ANC at this particular conference, probably one of the most important that the party is ever going to host. Just based on what we've seen coming out over the last few days, what are your initial thoughts on what's set to take place this weekend?
It's a golden opportunity for ANC to emerge there and show people that indeed they have the capacity and will to self-correct. They should emerge there with confidence and also inspiring people that they indeed that they can do things differently. Unfortunately, with what is happening now, with the delay, with the registration delay and all those things, it's unacceptable. It's not a good thing. By now, they've been doing these conferences for years, and then by now they should be knowing exactly how best they can run these conferences seamlessly, and also making sure that they don't have any haggles.
And there are a lot of hurdles, and we'll talk about them in a moment. I just want us to go back to Nasrec, where we've got Moloko Moloto, who's got Pula Maba standing by to give some insights there, and then we'll come back to our discussion here in studio. I'm handing it over to you, Moloko.
Well, we are at the Nasrec Conference Center, where the ANC National Conference is set to get underway officially. Of course, we heard that the registration of delegates is continuing, but let us bring into the conversation the outgoing national spokesperson of the ANC, Pula Maba. Pule, maybe if you can update us, how far are you with the registration of delegates?
Well, we are almost done. When we briefed the media earlier on, we had been able to confirm that over 3,800 delegates were confirmed at the time. I'm sure that that number would have gone up. One just needed to check. But given the rate and pace at which registration was going, we then took a view that maybe we should allow proceedings to commence at 1,400. So we are now expected to start at 2 o'clock. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, having 6,000 delegates in one conference, administering their access and all of that, you saw just with yourselves, a handful of the media, just to administer your entrance inside conference was not easy.
Yeah.
You know, so, but everything is going smoothly. People are singing songs and...
Yeah. Talking of songs, in terms of your do's and don'ts, you are actually saying that one of the things people, including everybody, members of the media, everybody who is within this prison shouldn't be indulging in alcohol and substance, drugs, whatever, which is fair. But you're also saying that people should not indulge into divisive behavior such as booing. And somebody's going to say, or perhaps even delegates would say, that you are stifling their political expression. How then are you going to be dealing with delegates in particular who would be booing their political detractors as a form of an expression? Are you going to kick them out?
Well, we have written out the do's and don'ts. We have read them out to yourselves in the media. And our expectation is that delegates of the ANC, well-disciplined delegates of the ANC, will conform to the rules of procedure, so that we don't have to activate disciplinary measures here. So we expect them to do what is right, to carry themselves on what is right. Cadres singing about their own preferences does not constitute any misconduct for as long as they don't insult others. You know, if you're saying, I mean, I want Muluku to be my president, I praise Muluku, it's a song. There's nothing wrong. But if I sing about Muluku and because I don't want Refilo, I insult Refilo in that song, then that's derogatory. It's not allowed.
Yeah. You have always been saying that conference is a conference of branches. We understand that just over 4,000 voting delegates will be coming from the branches across the country. Now, in terms of considering the fact that some of your structures, all the leagues, don't have elected leaders, the provinces such as the Western Cape and the Free State also don't have elected leaders. Ordinarily, we would expect that the PEC members will also vote. In this case, and also the National Executive Committee members of the leagues would also vote. Are they going to vote considering that they are presiding over interim structures?
Yes, they are going to vote because when you appoint an interim structure, and that is clearly articulated in the constitution of the ANC, that interim structure assumes the powers and functions of the executive structure. So if it's an issue that conference wants to look at so that these interim structures can fulfill, because many others have been presenting different arguments, that's why your question. You know, this is the space, this is the conference. It is the highest decision-making body of the African National Congress. Yeah. But from the last conference that we came out of, the powers of task teams were affirmed to be consistent with those of the executive structure they replace or represent.
Yeah. In the 2017 National Conference, there was a proposal that perhaps the nomination and the voting of the top six, the nationals, should be reconsidered. For instance, one of the arguments was that the person who will contest and lose the president position should also have an opportunity to contest for the deputy president position. Nomination of the top six is going to happen today, as you said, and the voting will happen tomorrow. Is that the approach that you are going to follow, or the voting will happen at a go?
Well, that proposal, as you say, emanated from the resolution of the 54th National Conference, which really gave rise to the Electoral Committee, and the development of electoral guidelines, which we now have. What was envisaged to that resolution was that we were supposed to actually have 6 ballot papers, if you followed it to the latter. And this was, in a way, trying to deal with slates. But given the time and limitations that we find ourselves under, provincial secretaries who are custodians of organization in various provinces had presented to the Electoral Committee that logistics, time management, you can see now, we haven't even started, time management and all of that may be feasible, that we conform to practice, which is one ballot paper. But what you have seen yourself, Mloko, is that with the manner and way in which we have been running the nomination processes, it does allow us to deal with such practices without having to do it through the ballot papers.
All right. Phala Phala, I'm afraid that's all we had time for. He is the national spokesperson of the ANC.
That update on the conference starting at 2 p.m. also very important for our viewers to note there. Let's continue our conversation here in studio, Prof. And we were speaking about the concerns that are raising their heads before this conference. And I suppose all of the detractors are going to be throwing everything at the wall and hoping that something sticks. And one of those, one would say, was the private prosecution initiated by the former President Zuma. How does this look as we go forward into the conference, but also how does the ANC then indicate to not only South Africa, but the world that it's got the capacity to self-correct, if at all?
The stakes are high, undoubtedly. You know, you can see that really it's a do or die. It's a last chance for the ANC to do right things and to do things right. And the question is, will those delegates be able to do that? And you can see that even this private prosecution from JZ Foundation really is a retaliatory stance. You can see that it's a revenge thing. You know, people are using all sorts of avenues to express themselves, and the onus is on the leaders, and obviously the new leaders will be elected, both the officials and the new NEC. That will they be able to bring back or to restore the trust of the organization and to inspire confidence. Unfortunately or fortunately, as far as leadership is concerned, great leaders emerge during the times of crisis or in difficult times. And that is where the test is. And that is what separates mediocre leaders and the great leaders, where are you able to really, in times of difficulty, in terms of crisis, to emerge and show people that you are the right leader to lead the people. You know, when we're in the comfort zone, there's nothing to do there. I mean, it's easy to lead, it's easy to do things. But when during the times of crisis, when the crunches comes, that is when you as a leader or as leaders, you should show people that you are the right people in those positions.
Let's pause our conversation. We do have to go into an ad break, and then we continue our coverage of the 55th ANC National Conference. We'll take you to Nasrec, and of course, we'll continue analysis in studio as well.